So, we're in North Carolina. We were going to go to the park. What do you call it? Carowinds. And there's these steep mountains. They don't look that steep. Freeway, and vehicle just started losing power. I noticed we could only get 50 miles an hour on a 65-mile road. And I'm like, shoot, what's going on? For some reason, I didn't stop and check. We're going up this one hill, and the knocking gets really bad. So I'm like, shoot, we got to pull over. And then, bam, this thing just disconnects. And I'm like, okay, now we're screwed. I quickly checked all my gauges. The heat was right. The gas was fine. I mean, the oil gauge doesn't work. But the one thing that was off was the battery. Can you close that door?
I need air.
The battery said it wasn't charging, and the gauge was dropped down. And I'm like, oh no, did we just lose the battery? No, we didn't lose the battery. But there's a lot of smoking coming out of this particular part. I'll show you in a minute. Or maybe, just look at that. But I don't know cars. And then this verse popped up on my wife's phone. What did it say?
When I am afraid, I put my trust in you.
I don't know if I would call this afraid, but I'm definitely concerned about what's going to happen, because we're out in the middle of North Carolina, like the middle of North Carolina. Mm-hmm. And we're sort of screwed. God, I hope you're here. I'm trusting you. Oh no!
He's got this, baby.
You know he does. It's sort of like a rope, like a big swing, and you're at the top of the swing ready to jump on and swing down. And yeah, technically that rope can hold you, but you're 100 feet up in the air. Do you believe it will hold you? There's a difference between knowing it will hold you and believing it will hold you. I hope to believe. And now I'm being tested. And I'm afraid to even turn the starter to even see what happens. Something might just explode. Other than her nail polish, we smelled some other weird smells, but I don't know. This car had something fall out of it. I don't know what it was, but something fell, out of the car. If this car starts first time, it's a miracle. And shoot, I can't start first time. I'm curious to see what's left about this. I'm scared. I'm coming this way. Oh yeah, something's wrong with that. It's trying hard. We're gonna have to call a tow truck. Push. Wow. Well, we've had some time to reflect on it and to mourn the loss of Schmo. It's been pretty painful. Your phone's singing over there. Anyway. It still hurts. It's not what I wanted. But we're gonna do what we're gonna do. And this is something we both felt. We were heading out to that place. What's it called? Carowinds. I don't think we told you guys that. But our next destination on the road was Carowinds. After we left the Indian
Resort.
Reserve. Not resort. Reserve. The Indian Reserve. We're going to go to Carowinds, which I've been told is a really cool park and stuff. And I just felt like, as we're driving down the road, something's not right. Something's going to happen. We're not going to, we have to stop. And at first I was thinking, well, the gas gauge is going low. And so, of course, it's that urge of The gas gauge is low, you get some gas, you want to pass another exit. But I'm like, something's gonna happen at this point down the road. Like, we only have so much more road. So I stopped, got gas because that's what I thought it was. We had lunch, we got refreshed, we hopped back on the road, we drove back up the road, and it felt like the engine fell out of the car. It was nasty. At first, I mean, I already told you all this, I'm re-explaining it. What it actually is the coolant got into the oil, which destroyed the car. For those who aren't car nerds, basically what happened is it's like if your sweat got into your heart, would be the way I could explain it. You're not pumping blood anymore, you're pumping sweat. You're gonna seize up and die. And so that's sort of what my car did. This guy, he pulled over, the tow truck pulled over and stuff, and he's just like, hey, let me, look at the hood real quick, see, what's going on. He looked at it, he pulled out the oil and saw green stuff on it. He's like, car's totaled. It's done. I said, okay, where do I take this thing off the freeway? Because also, as you saw, probably the police was behind me, just making sure everything was fine. We weren't in any trouble or anything, just making sure everything was fine. And so I'm like, I have to take this thing off the road, obviously. Where's the nearest trash can? He says, well, for $100 I can tow it back to the place that, they work, and they can take up all the cars out at once. And I said, okay. Well, you saw him take it away. He gave us free service though. He said, it's for free, you don't have to worry about paying me. So we got a free tow. I can't help but feel like yesterday, this was crazy, yesterday, I felt like we were supposed to go and almost like hike to Alabama. And I'm like, no, that's ridiculous on so many levels. First, she doesn't walk. Two, we have a truck. Where would we put the truck? We wouldn't do that. And then today, Isaac, the native, he said, someday soon, God's going to take away your truck and show you the whole new side of the world that you've never seen before. And I blew it off. I said, yeah, right. No, it's not going to happen. I mean, sure, Mr. Agreeable, okay, whatever. But I left and I'm like, yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. God called us to do this. Not even an hour away from that, this happens. So, our plan tonight, we have all this stuff. We have to go through it. We have to figure out what we're going to carry and get to Alabama somehow. Because I feel like we're led to go to Alabama. So now we're homeless. Like, we were jobless, we were homeless, but now we're homeless. We don't have a place to sleep. But you know what?
We don't have a car to get a place.
Yeah, God's gonna take care of us. We're gonna go into South Carolina tomorrow. I checked, it's like a 2-hour walk. We're gonna get into South Carolina. Maybe we can take a bus. I don't know. Another thing. We were reading in the Bible. What chapter was it? 23?
Yeah.
Was it chapter 23?
Mm-hmm.
We were reading about Abraham and how he had to give up his son to God and have to be willing to sacrifice him. And I remember saying today, or was it last night, looking at the buckets of stuff we had. We had 4 buckets and our clothes bag. And I said, this is our entire life. And it hit me. I'm like, my life and stuff? Are you sure? And my truck was my most favorite possession. Schmomobile, our favorite rocket ship. It was our my favorite thing. She was attached to it as well, but God's like, okay, you gotta take this away. Will you still serve me? The Lord gives and takes away. And it's one thing to be faithful when he's, chucking $1,000 at you. It's another thing to be faithful when
you gotta walk.
Your $2,000-$3,000 car that you put a $4,000 engine in busts.
To that.
And just in case the guy who put the engine in my car, because it was a rebuilt engine, it wasn't his fault. As you guys saw, the bumper was all in a fender bender. What we did was we got in a fender bender. I checked with my brother, a few things were loose. We put everything back. We said, it's good. Coolant linked into the oil. I should have gone back to Webb's Auto and said, hey, I got a fender bender. Can you check this out? But I didn't. That's my bad. But now we're going to Alabama.